All right, so I can start my video here to show you guys. Hey everyone, my name is Steven Farrig from Campus Sportswear Screen Printing and Embroidery. I run a screen printing shop in Central Illinois. Also great friends of Printavo and the group there. They've asked me to come on today and talk a little bit about contract printing. Before we get this started, I'd love to just see where everyone is from. So if you'd love to, just type in the chat box where you're from, we can start to get a good grasp of. We got Rob from Florida, Leslie from Charleston. Who else we got here? We have Ryan from Texas. We got someone from the UK. Awesome. Jessica from California. Right. Sounds like we have an awesome group here today. Hey, Leslie. We have Patrick from Columbus. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I love asking questions along the way. So if you want to type in questions, I'm going to do my best to answer them. I'm going to leave some time for questions at the end. My goal for today is to really show you how to kind of set up your Printavo to be a contract printer. And there's several different ways you can do it. I'm going to go through what I think is the best way to set up your Printavo to optimize it, and to obviously talk a little bit about contract printing. We got David from Fort Lauderdale. We have from Miami. We have someone from Ireland. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Love to see people on the other side of the pond. Pretty late at night for you there. I am going to screen share my computer in just a little bit so that you guys can get a good look at how we are setting it up. So as I'm setting this up, I love to just know right here, who is a contract printer? Is there anyone out there that is solely a contract printer, someone that only does contract printing? Anyone out there? So Rob does retail and contract. That's what we do. We do both. But I'm wondering to see if there's anyone that just does contract printing. Okay. Sounds like we've got a lot of both, which is great to see. All right, let's see here. All right, so we've got 80%, Leslie, 80% and 90% of your stuff is contract printing. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So hopefully today is insightful. Hopefully you're able to get something out of it. As always, feel free to reach out to either myself or the group at Printavo. They are always here to help. They're amazing along the way. So let's talk a little bit about contract printing. I have a very simple philosophy for contract printing, and it uses the concept from Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines is lean, mean, and cheap. And the reason they are is because they keep their planes up in the air for as long as possible. They have some of the fastest turnaround when their planes come to the gate. They're able to refuel them, unload them, get passengers on, and get their planes back up in the air. And when they asked one of their CEOs what the trick was for Southwest Airlines and why they were able to be so successful, it was because they had this wheels up approach. So I want to apply the same exact concept to your shop, to your presses, right? We all have these big pieces of equipment, whether it's an automatic or a manual press, and we kind of have to adopt this philosophy that it needs to be printing as much as humanly possible, as fast as possible, right? And that's how we can optimize our profitability, and we can look at things like efficiency. But really, you should start to look at contract printing if the retail side of it is not going well for you, okay? And there are shops that are set up completely differently. We are on a college campus, so I love printing for $9 a shirt. But what I realize is in the summer when all the students are home, I can't print for $9 a shirt anymore, and I have to start doing some contract printing for obviously lower costs. You always want to be trying to make the most optimal amount of money on your presses, but there are going to be times where contract printing does help keep your business afloat during those down times. It's also a smart idea to start contract printing kind of in off hours, right? We call it that last dollar income. If you run a second shift, your contract printing, you're not making as much money, but you still have to pay the rent, the electricity, and your employees are factored in that contract printing. Be careful about contract printing. Contract printing is obviously scary because you start to really pinch pennies when you start to, price things out per screen and per ink color. So, when I'm just telling screen printers who are just new to the game, be very careful of contract printing because depending on your overhead, how many employees you have, the equipment that you're leasing or you're buying out, you might find that the profitability really starts to shrink when you add that all up. The big boys in contract printing, there's shops all around the United States that have 10 automatics in the warehouse and are ready for you. And if that's your shop today, that's awesome. I applaud you for getting to be that big. I think today we're going to talk about how to start to transition that retail into kind of that contract printing, okay? And contract embroidery, contracting of any type of decorating for that matter. I contract screen print, but I also contract out like my direct to garment. We do a lot of contract embroidery as well. So what we're going to do here is I am going to share my screen. You are going to be able to take a look right now and see a very, very empty Printavo. This is a demo. This is not my personal shop's Printavo. I'm going to log in at the end and show you guys how we use it. But the whole purpose right here is that Printavo is going to be very simple and flexible and adaptable just for your shop. Okay. So by a show of hands here in just the chat box, I'd love to see who is a Printavo customer right now. We kind of know who we are working with. Let's see here. Who is it? Okay, so we got a decent amount of customers on there. Let's just see this chat box. Okay. Awesome. An amazing product. Bruce and his team have done an amazing job, but really great to see people using their shop. And you're going to see tricks that I'm going to teach today that you might adapt into your shop. Feel free to reach out to any of us. We'd love to show you some of them along the way. So first thing with Printavo in setting up for a contract printer is going to be creating them as a user into your system, okay? And you want to do this with someone who is established, right? Someone who is consistently bringing you orders. You're not going to set someone up as a user if it's only one order once or twice a year. You're going to set it up for that person that's the once, twice a month, very regularly, so that they can key into your system and they're able to send orders to you very seamlessly. One of the parts I hate about ordering, from these big vendors is that you have to send these janky purchase orders in that has to be done, in Excel or a Word document. And we want to make it really simple for customers to key into your system and to be able to order or to send product to get printed to you. So you're going to see, if any of you are familiar with the ASI business, how a lot of what we're doing right now is very similar, but it's very cloud-based internal in the system that you're using. Okay. So after you've established who you are going to teach this to, who you are going to allow into your system, you are going to create for them a user. Now, in my business, I not only have people that I contract print for, but I also have salespeople, and they use Printavo very, very similarly. So if you are using salespeople, this is kind of on the same avenue. The only difference is you might be ordering the products instead of them. Okay. So first things first, we are going to add our users. Okay. And you're going to see right here, you can have as many users as you'd like, and you can give them very specific limitations. Obviously, Printavo is the baby to your business, and it is probably what's going to hold all of your customers, all your invoices, and so you don't want to just give access to everyone to just see everything. So you're going to create a new user, and we're going to call him Contract Printer. And Mr. Contract Printer will put in their email address, put in their cell phone number, give them a password, and now they are a user, right? Right away, we're going to see that we need to limit the things that contract printer can see. So we would like them to be able to create invoices, to create customers, to only view invoices they've created, that's the most important one, and to only view customers they've created, right? So when they log into their Printavo, your system, they are only seeing what's affecting them. They're not seeing anything else, okay? Very important here because you obviously don't want them to have access to your customers. I know in our industry, that's something we protect a little bit, right? So we want to be very, very careful with that. So either your salespeople or your contract printers, both, you're going to be able to make them users, okay? In my shop, I have over 25 college students that actually use Printavo on a daily basis. Kind of scary that you have that many kids keying in orders, but with very simple limitations, they're actually able to use it very, very easily, okay? So now that we've created our user, right, we are going to go in and set up some pricing. Now, as a contract printer, if you decide to contract print, make sure that you've calculated every piece of your business out, right? You understand overhead, screen fees, flash, no flash, and contract print pricing is not something you just want to wing, because like I said, when you start taking those jobs for 7, 8 colors, and there's a lot of flashes involved, and there's a lot of setup and artwork involved, your profitability can go down very, very quickly, okay? So we're gonna go into my account, and we're gonna go into pricing matrices, okay? And I've created 2 basic contract price matrices that are for darks and lights. I think that's the easiest way to start. You can create pricing matrices for embroidery. You can make them for signs and banners. There are tutorials. There's a really, really great tutorial that teaches you how to make the matrix. And so we are going to go ahead, and I'm going to just edit this so you guys can see what it looks like. I'm sure we all have Excel printouts from contract printers we used before that look very, very similar to this. So we have price breaks, we have ink colors, right? And we have quantity breaks, okay? And these are just, I used a very, very standard. I don't think this is accurate whatsoever, but I just put in some numbers so that you guys could see it here. I have a 0% garment markup, right? Because we are contract printing, customers are supplying us the garments, okay? So I don't want that, we're not selling them a garment, we're simply selling them a service. So here a little trick is that you need to make the garment markup 0%, okay? You can go ahead and duplicate that, and you can increase it a little bit for your darks or your lights, right? So I made a second one for lights. That's going to be a little less expensive because obviously we love printing wet on wet. And if we don't have to flash, definitely saves us time, definitely saves us money. You can see right here that you can create an embroidery pricing matrix based on stitches, right? 6,000 to 7,000 stitches, quantities, all that jazz. Right? You can really place this grid however you want it. It's a very, very basic matrix, okay? After we have created our pricing matrices, right, something that you've calculated with your other business partners, you know how much you're going to charge, we're actually going to create a product, a custom product just for our contract printers, because we really don't want them to use our product SKUs because they're shipping us the product. So I create a product. I'm going to call it contractor. Brand is going to be contractor. Description is going to be customer provided. Color, I'm going to leave blank. Size, I'm going to leave blank. I'll make a contractor. We'll call it 00000 contractor. And price, we're actually going to just make it, I believe we're going to make it $0, right? And we're going to continue in there. Okay. Now we have created kind of a SKU for all of our contract printers to use so that they can just introduce their pricing matrix. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go in the calendar and we're going to start to show how a contract printer would input a job. Okay. So if a contract printer wanted to input a job, they would create an invoice, right? Because they are ready to place that order. Okay. Contract printers, you're going to give a lot of fixed pricing out, so they're going to have those prices already in place. Customer can either put in their information if they're not comfortable giving you the customer's information, or they can give you the customer's information. For this case, let's just say it is, the contract printer themselves or the printer themselves putting in the own customer, right? And they're going to put in a shipping address of where they want that thing shipped to. They're going to name that job and they're going to call it Johnny's Shirts. And maybe they put the word contract printed on the end of it, okay? Now here's where they can actually enter in their jobs, right? So they can say contract printing. We said 000 was an item we wanted to use. Let's see, contract. Oh, we need to search in description. Okay. Customer provided. Say they were printing those 1,000 shirts, right? Oops. We can go ahead and click on print locations, and we can start to have your people put in the actual pricing matrix. So contract printing light, maybe they'll say it's a full front, 2-color, black and gold, and it's a full back, 2-color, purple and black. Contract printing lights again. I click save and insert pricing, and if I've done that right, just make sure I've done that right. Should be able to add print location. Oh, I only added 1 color there. So right here, we've got to add 2 colors. 2 colors. Save and insert pricing, and it's $1.80 right there. If your customers actually feel the need to put in the exact breakdown for how many items they're doing, I also had 10,000 items there. There we go, $2.40. And that I right there will tell you that it's accurate. It's taking it off the grid. Okay. We can go ahead and save that. Now, for this to really be complete, we want to allow our salespeople or people we're printing for to be able to upload print-ready artwork. Okay. So one thing they can do again is they can hit edit, and they can go ahead and attach a mockup. Can you limit the matrices available to the broker? That's from Rob. I don't believe that's a feature yet. I know it's something that is definitely on Bruce's features list, right? So if you have a contractor that has very specific pricing, it might be a good idea to give it to them in hand, and that's something that they could use. But that's definitely something we have discussed. So you'd want to have them upload a mockup. A mockup would be nothing but a proof, kind of the same way you proof your customers. And you'd also like them to upload their production files. The production files are going to be their PDFs or whatever vector files they have. And they can go ahead and upload those, and they're there as well. Okay. So that you, as the screen printer, are able to go into that job, dissect it, figure out you have 1,000 units to do. You have a 2-color front, 2-color back. This is how much they price it out for. Here's their artwork, and here's their proof, right? So instead of that customer sending you a purchase order, they can just load this all into the system, okay? Now here's where it gets fun. You can create some invoice statuses so that your customers can actually go in and tell the shop that they have placed an order, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go into my account. And we're going to go into custom invoice statuses. And I'm going to create a new status and call it contract order placed, products shipped for production. We'll make it yellow, or let's just make it blue. Okay. And we're also going to make a second status, and we're going to say contract order completed, shipping back to customer. Okay. So these are 2 different statuses. Now, kind of like if you guys have ordered a Domino's pizza recently, you can see your pizza being made along the way. Your contract printers are going to be able to log in and see kind of the status of the job. Has it been sent to the art department yet? Is there an issue with your artwork, right? They're going to be able to interact with them as a salesperson or as a customer that's a little bit more educated than the typical customer. Rob, to answer your question, no, I don't believe you can limit statuses yet by a broker. That is something definitely working on. So if we go into that calendar and we look at John Doe's order, right? And they can pick a due date for when they need it. So they can say, I need it in hand there, you know, and whatever rules you set up for them. They can go ahead and click save, right? They can go ahead and click contract order place, products shipped for production, okay? What that's going to do is it's going to turn bright blue on your calendar. So when you see that calendar, it's going to be bright blue, but it still keeps going from there. What we're going to do is create a status change notification. We're going to click on My Account. We're going to click on Status Change Notification. And what we can do here is when that color changes to blue, we can tell Printavo to do something. So I want, whenever this thing turns to blue, to send the office an email to say, hey, office, you got a contract job. Please look for it on the receiving line or on your shipping line or something like that. Okay? And every time your customer turns it to blue, that automatic email is going to turn to send to your shop so they know it. And you could take it a step farther from that. You could create another invoice status that says contract products received, right? Move, you know, contract products received. We could keep it very simple, right? And what can actually happen there is we can trigger Printavo to now send a status change notification back to the customer. So we've received your products, right? And so on and so forth. You can create as many different loops as you want. You can go through the art department. You can go through several different departments, okay? One other feature in the invoice there, while you can add custom line items, you can also add fees down here. So if you have screen fees, you have artwork fees, reclaiming fees, if you want to go in there and you need to add a fee, you can certainly do it. And what's nice is now this is invoiced, so you can actually send the payment request so that they can go ahead and pay for it. Please pay for your contract printing. Right? And they can go ahead and get a payment request. They're able to see their job kind of changing along the way as they log in, but they can go ahead and pay that amount, right? So you kind of rope them into your system, okay? So those are really the basics of contract printing, how to set up your Printavo. Sonic, you're asking how, or Matt, you're asking, can multiple orders with different purchase order numbers be sent on one invoice? So you could gang them together if you wanted to, because there is a point to create an invoice number here, and you could create different line items. So you could create another contract printing job right here, right? Just like you're taking a bulk order, but hopefully that answers it for you. How are you shipping this order? FedEx, UPS, or pickup? And where do you enter that? I would enter that into the production notes, and production notes are private, meaning only you and the customer can see them, or you and the person logged into Printavo can see them. So you could say ship via UPS ground. And if you needed to factor in pricing, or if you needed to factor in shipping, you could add it as a shipping fee here and say it's $23, right? There's a feature on Printavo that we're integrated with called Easy Post, and that is where you can create a shipping label and just enter in the weight, and it'll add it there for you to actually print out that label, and it'll charge you based on what your metrics are with whatever shipping service you're using. So I want to open up the floor to questions. I think I only have about 7 or 8 minutes left. So I want to open up the floor to questions, but obviously not limit you guys, if you have your own questions, to go ahead and reach out to us. So is there a way to add in the invoice for a pay by date? So Adrian, you could put that in your terms. So if you go over to My Account and you click on terms and conditions, right, you can go ahead and put that in there. If you use automation, you can make sure that when an invoice is accepted, a payment of 100% is received or is requested. You could set up a few different types of automation to create your pay by date. Gavin, you're asking, we tried playing around and adding users. We didn't like how they can see the extra section. As far as we know, there's not an off for that. I think the extras you mean by, they should only be able to see what they have access to. In my Printavo, I have very, very limited access. And so, if there's a feature that you're looking at that you don't think people should be able to see, go ahead and shoot us a message and we can definitely look into it for you. Easy Post is just integrated directly with Printavo. You can set up a free account for that. We love it because we can literally click go and it'll spit out a UPS label instead of actually logging into a Stamps account or UPS postal account. So the messages of the tasks, yeah, Gavin. So right now everyone can see the tasks, but on my personal Printavo, I'm okay with my contractor seeing the tasks because they see that the products have been checked in, they see that screens have been burned, they see that different steps along the way have been done. Let's see, say we print 20 jobs for one contract customer per week. At the end of the week, we want to send them an invoice for those 20 jobs. Is there a way to batch send invoices rather than going through each one separately? Absolutely. What you can do, and so guys, this is how my Printavo looks, right? Just to show you that this is being used by a company. Like I said, we run 2 automatics. We're well over 7 figures, 6 employees, 20 salespeople, and we have a lot of colors. So I spend a lot of time training my employees, but we live on Printavo. So what you can do there, Patrick, is you can click on a customer. Say I have a customer that orders the same thing every month. I can click on it. I can click on her customer order, her kind of account information. I can send her her public profile so that she can see every single one of her orders and see what she has to pay. So definitely need to send her some invoices, right? And that's kind of how you do it. Are there going to be set fees you can choose from? Definitely a feature I think we've looked into to be able to preset some fees. For me, what I've learned are fees change from time to time. If you are a 100% contractor, I do understand that fees are very rigid. But when you kind of give them to your customers and say, hey, screens are $10 a piece, they just put them in there. Have you had trouble getting customers to actually use the program? Have you had any resistance to using Printavo for someone at a different company? Absolutely not. So I will show you my biggest contract printer or my biggest contract customer from Body and Soul Sports. They are a team shop. They do everything for teams. What I did is I spent some time working with them, and they've been doing this now for 2 or 3 years. They pay twice a year, and they go through and they enter in their jobs every day. If we have a problem with one of their orders, I actually make them put in exactly how much they are, paying for every item. But if we have an issue with their order, I can click, we need more artwork, and it'll trigger back to them. So they live by it now. In fact, they're using it for their customers to use now as well. So yeah, using Easy Post after you print that label, does it add the shipping cost on the invoice? That I'm not 100% sure of, because for my company, we actually have shipping in our pricing. So we are a free shipping company. So I believe you would just have to add that on. That answers your question, Jared. Cool. So I've got a couple minutes left. If you guys have any other questions for me, you can go ahead and email me. This meeting is going to be recorded, and so we are going to be able to kind of send it out. But if there are no other questions, I think this is an awesome group. I love that, there's a group of 30 or 40 people that get together every month. Let me know if you need another contract printer from Adam. If you're not already subscribing to our blogs, guys, Bruce and the group and myself, we put out a blog every couple of weeks to do some best shop practices. If you have any best practices or ideas or things that are working for you, reach out to us. because we'd love to hear about them and love to share them if that's something you're willing to do. Thanks so much, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.